What's happening? What's happening? What's happening? What's happening? Yes, indeed. Yeah. I know I've been talking about Brianna Snake Self for the last few days. Yes, indeed. And I want y'all women, because I mostly have female viewers, I want y'all to see and understand that I'm not against women at all. And I'm definitely not saying that men don't do their fair share of BS. Because myself, okay, I'm not going to try to talk about anyone else and can't point the finger back at myself, and I gotta wake up every morning and look at myself in the mirror. Okay, that ain't me, ain't gonna never be me. I've did my fair share, I've been involved in my fair share, but I learned. Did you hear that? I learned. And I accepted that I was at fault. Okay? I accepted that I was at fault. I can remember back when my third child, and she was, if I'm not mistaken, 6 months pregnant with my child, okay? And this is me, like I said, being young and dumb. I was in my late 20s, okay? I actually was very upset with her because she was, I wouldn't call it a family reunion for her, but it was like a family outing. And I was very upset with her because she played volleyball 6 months pregnant with my child and disregarded what I said, disregarded how I felt. I was totally upset. There is no in between it. I was totally upset. But regardless, it was her decision to make. She should have listened to me because my decision was my point that I had was, excuse me, was very valid, because I didn't think she should have been bouncing around chasing after no ball at 6 months pregnant. And the main thing, that it was 6 months pregnant with my child. Now, thank God we didn't have no issues at all with my daughter's birth. Not at all. Thank God on that. But like I'm saying, I am literally going to admit my fault. Okay. Now, we made it home later that evening, or was it that night? I'm not sure. I can't remember that for long ago. But we made it home. And it's very clear and understandable that I'm upset. She knows that I'm upset. She knows why I'm upset with her. Now, as the night goes on, I really don't have too much to say to her. I am highly pissed, because at that time in my life, I was figuring every woman I speak to is going to do what I say, when I say, how I say it. It didn't dawn on me at all to the degree that, okay, man, look, this woman has her own thoughts, her own feelings, and she's going to do what she wants to do, regardless of what you say, when the woman is not intimidated by you. Okay? There's a difference. When she's intimidated by you, she's going to listen to you out of fear. Okay? This woman, my baby mother, didn't have no fear of me at all. And I never would want her to have any fear of me. But regardless, okay, we got into an argument, and I am still hyped and pissed from earlier that day. of her playing volleyball and 6 months pregnant with my baby. So I intentionally say things to her that I know would get her upset to the fullest. And, excuse me, which I learned from. I personally learned from that I assaulted her. I'm not ashamed to say it. I am not ashamed to say it in any way, shape, form, or fashion. And the result ended with me being detained. Now, my assault wasn't in any way in hurting her or even trying to hurt her. That wasn't the part. The part was that I did it. I should have had more self-control over myself to not put my hands on that woman at all in any shape, form, or fashion. I shouldn't have intentionally provoked her to say what she said. Now, regardless of her saying things that actually hurt me because of me intentionally saying stuff to her that's going to hurt her emotionally, when she returned, said something to me that hurt my feelings, I couldn't control myself. I felt that I had to retaliate. Okay? And I paid the cost for that. Besides having to look at her father in the eye, which I had great respect for, and still respect that man to the fullest. I had to look at him and explain to him why the situation happened. And that hurt more for me to explain that to that man and see the disgust in his face and me being the man that I am, accepting the ridicule or the negative comments he had to me, which I had to accept that. That hurt more than the time that I spent incarcerated. Just because I knew I was wrong, and he made it very well clear to me that I was wrong and the way I handled that situation. Now I'm going to skip over to, okay, I've matured. My son is in his mid-20s at this stage of his life, okay? I'm not going to directly state his age, but he's in his mid-20s at this time in his life, okay? Now, my daughter, she's in her early 20s. She has had a child, which I don't like that in no way, but whatever. She had a child. I have to accept that. And this goes to show you that I don't hold any grudges or hold it against any woman, because this is my child, a child that I birthed. That I brought to this world, or helped rather. Okay, this is my child, but she's still a woman. And if she has the mentality to be a woman that cries wolf, it is what it is. I'm going to call it out. Now, she called me one morning addressing that her and her baby's father had got into it and he had hit her. Okay? Of course, I was totally upset. I'm pissed to the core. I'm stressing how I'm going to beat the brakes off this dude when I get over there, this, that, and the third. Then it dawned on me. She doesn't have a bruise on her. Not one bruise, not a scratch, not nothing. she very well could be addressing, saying that he abused her and he hasn't did anything to her. Now, excuse me. Now, this is where the valuable lesson turned in. The valuable lesson turned into a teaching lesson for my son. Like I said, my son was in his mid-20s. He wanted to directly go over there and straight smash that dude. Straight up. No, son, that's not how it's going to happen. Okay? We went and had a conversation with that dude, in which my son has never saw a man approach a situation of that fashion the way I did. Okay? So like I said, I had to think of it as a teaching moment for my son, as well as a learning moment for my daughter. Okay? For my son, it was, don't believe every time a woman says that she has been abused or hit by a man, because that doesn't mean that. She could just be in her feelings and could be hurt and be on some boo-hoo shit and then say that the man hit her. Okay? When that man have maybe grabbed her, not abused her, grabbed her. And in the situation with my daughter, I had to show her that, okay, you could have got this man physically hurt bad when it all was a lie. He never hit her in any way, shape, form, or fashion. He came home. She was upset that he was gone as long as he was gone. And they got into an altercation in which they were wrestling around. And she was the starter of the problem. She came at him. They wrestled around because he was trying to get away from her. Now, this all came to be to pour at the cost of this man almost getting seriously hurt. Now, let's take it a step further. Let's say my daughter did have a bruise on her, and it's from this man. She's saying it was from him hitting her. But no, it technically was from you wrestling around with him and him trying to get away from you, and you end up getting a bruise. Could have bumped into something, whatever, it doesn't matter. The point would have been, he didn't do that. And you said he assaulted you. And now he's beat up bad, because I believe in street justice. I don't believe in just going to jail. Okay? If you assault mine, you're going to get it. If I'm able to give it to you. But we're going to find out if you can or you can't. You know what I'm saying? But we're going to see. But the lesson was taught very clearly, baby, to my baby. Do not say a man has hit you and he hasn't. That will not end well for that man 9 times out of 10. 9 times out of 10, it will not end well for that man. Especially if that woman has people in her life that actually cares and values and loves her and is willing to go to bat for her. So this is just for me saying, okay, I don't just talk about Brianna. I despise what she did and what she's doing. I'll never get over that, and I'm going to continue to talk about that. But it's not just her I talk about. If I'm going to correct my own child, trust and believe me, I'm willing to correct and speak on any feelings I have toward any woman that's being, you can call her a snake. You can say she's crying wolf. You can put anything you would like to that. Doesn't matter. The point still is you're lying about being abused. And there are too many women that are actually out on this earth that are physically being abused. I've saw women that have been beaten down, beaten like a real full-fledged man. And even if that was a man, I would have felt sorry for that man. So Brianna, you're insulting women when you try to act like you have been abused when you're the aggressor of the abuse. You're being really a snake, and in my eyes, a real, true hypocrite. But I'm done for right now at this moment. I got some things I got to take care of. I'll be back later. But y'all pay attention to what I said, okay? I'm not knocking women. This is not just me being a woman basher, no. Because if I can talk about my own flesh and blood, and I really do mean my own flesh and blood child. I turned her negative moment of her lie into a teaching moment for my son. More men need to act like that and do that and address it the proper way. And I also talked about me when I was a young man and how ignorant I was. And because I was upset, me turning that into a physical altercation, something that I started. Anyway, y'all share, like, and subscribe. And hit that notification bell for your boy. Peace, I'm up out of here.